You mentioned it a second ago, and I am very curious to see how Kenny Atkinson approaches tonight's game. I want to read you a quote that Kenny gave about the Celtics after Sunday's win against Memphis. So he was asked in the postgame, and this is what Kenny Atkinson had to say. And I quote, "We still have to prove we can beat them in their place. I think we go in there kind of guns blazing, go for the win, whatever it takes, throw everything at them. And then after the game, we can kind of step back and say, hey, what do we need to do in the playoffs now?" End quote. I believe, based off that quote, that Kenny Atkinson and the Cavs are going to treat this game like a playoff game. Mm-hmm. Bigger minutes for the starters, shorten the rotation a bit, play DeAndre Hunter potentially in the starting lineup, all those things. Jay, is that the right approach for a regular season game when you are 48-10 already and have a 6.5 game, I believe it's 6.5 game lead? Yeah, 6.5 game lead for the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference.
At times, I think it's the right approach. I don't think you should play the entire game like it's a playoff game, because a 7-game series is cat and mouse. What changes do you make? How do you respond to the changes they make? And you don't want to give away too much because you want there to be a surprise factor in the playoffs. For the most part, these teams know what they are. The big X factor here is, what are the Cavs with DeAndre Hunter against the Celtics? We don't know that. And as much as Kenny wants to figure that out, Boston wants to figure that out too. So I do think you play this game to win. You mentioned before they want to send a message. Cleveland wants to send a message too. This is a very important regular season game. And we haven't talked about this yet, but it is now a long shot that the Celtics catch the Cavs for the 1. If they want to do that, they absolutely have to pick up a game here. This game counts for 2 in that race.
That's true.
ESPN Analytics this morning said before tonight's game, right now, the Cavs have a 96% chance of the 1 seed.
Right.
If they win tonight, it jumps to 98.7.
What if they lose?
They didn't tell us what it was if they lose. I
would be willing to bet it would probably go down into the high 80s if they lose.
Sounds about right.
I mean, it's really a 2-game swing. So I think it's more important for Boston than it is for Cleveland. Cleveland has the cushion. All that being said, both teams would love to win it. It's not a do or die for the Cavs. I do think it's a do or die for the Celtics if they want to get the 1 seed.
I don't think they care about it. I don't think they care about it.
You don't think they care?
When you win a championship, once you win a championship, you don't care about things
I know
like
LeBron said, look, if we've got to pick up a road win, we pick up a road win. That's what great teams are able to do. There's 2 paths to a championship, to a berth in the championship finals. You either get the home court and hold serve, or you have to win a game on the road. Now, there's no question which one's easier, hold home serve. It is tough to go on the road and win in the playoffs. Can the Celtics do it? Of course they can do it. They've proven they can do it. I think the unproven part of that is it's more difficult. It would be more difficult for the Cavs to do that. So if the Cavs had to win a road game, they don't have the cachet of a championship.
Well, they're going to have to win a road game because they're not going to. Very rarely, it happens, but rarely do you see it go home.
Well, the saying is the series doesn't start until the road team wins. However, you can win, and teams have done it by just holding serve at home.
But I think what it gives you is it gives you a little bit of a buffer.
Yeah.
So that, because you're probably going to drop one at home, and it very well could be game 1. So it gives you a little bit of a buffer of, okay, well, we only have to win 1 on the road, whereas if you don't have home court and you lose at home, now you got to get 2 on the road. And that's a lot harder. So I look at it more like you already know you're going to have to get 1 in the Garden. You're going to drop 1 at home. You just are. But you can get 1 back at the Garden. It's going to be really hard to get 2 back.
What I love is, you're showing those highlights right here. And if you're the Orlando Magic and you came into that game, you're thinking your Orlando Magic are surging. They're trying to, position themselves in the Eastern Conference. You go 7 games against the Cavaliers last year. Cavs win Game 7, and you feel like you're close. You feel like the Cavs are a great team, but you've seen them bleed a little bit. And the Cavs came right in there and got them together real quick. Like, no, we're different. That's whatever you was doing last year is not going to work this year. You guys are going to have a nice season, but if we happen to see you, you're going to get smoked. And that is the message that they gave them. And you know what? The Orlando Magic halfway through the game was like, yeah, you're right. Y'all different a little bit. Y'all different. It's different. Now, here's the thing about the Celtics. Celtics is feeling the same way about the Cavaliers. we won the championship. Yeah, we gentlemen swept y'all last year. We know y'all got a few little people. Cool, we're not really worried about y'all. The Cavs have an opportunity, and I think this is important for young teams, an opportunity to prove to the Celtics, no, this is different. We got a different mindset. We got a different way that we playing basketball right now, different coaching. And this win could do a lot for Evan Mobley, a lot for Jared Allen, a lot for Darius Garland, who have struggled against the Celtics. Hey, if they can see some success and the ball start going in the basket and you get that momentum, I always go back to this. That game, the most masterful game I've ever seen in Boston Garden was 2018 LeBron James. When he came into the game, controlled the whole pace, and Boston was winning the whole game. And he said, I've been slow walking this whole thing. Get up out of here. I've never seen people demoralize that like that in my life. But he showed you what you can do if you play with enough confidence late in the game to where your young guys start to feel like they belong. The Jordan Clarksons and the Rodney Hoods and the Larry Nancers started hitting shots late in that game. If Donovan Mitchell can come into this game and say, I got a game plan, and they can win this game, I think it pays dividends the rest of the season. I just do.
To Mike's original question about how Kenny should approach it, or how he will approach it, we talked to him about this a few weeks ago, and Kenny didn't hide from the fact that he wants it on film. He wants to see it. You can drill something in practice all you want, but he wants to see how it looks in real game time, and I kind of like that. So, yeah, I expect them to throw traps at Boston tonight. I expect them to show the Celtics their zone, show them everything that they're going to see in the playoffs. And Jay, to your point, you're probably not going to play the whole game that way, but you probably wouldn't in a playoff game anyway. You're going to mix things up. But you want to see what it looks like now, because the worst time to find out something doesn't work is game one of the playoffs.
You aren't kidding.
That's a really bad time.
Uh-oh.
That's a bad shit moment.
Hey, man,
you aren't kidding.
I done seen dudes get down 20 and it's over.
Yeah.
It's just done.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's nuts in the playoffs.
It's funny because I'll go back. I think we talked about this. Whatever year it was that Atlanta was really good. It might have been the championship.
2015.
Was it 15?
Yeah, because it was my senior year of college. I remember that specifically.
But it was 16 too. One of those years, I don't remember, 15 or 16. I don't remember which one. And there was a game late in the year. We were in Atlanta. I was back when I was covering the team, and the Cavs were playing the Hawks, and Ty didn't show Atlanta anything. That was just his style. That's what he.
Yeah.
And they played everything straight up. And the Hawks won the game, and everybody in Cleveland was panicking.
I remember that.
And LeBron was like, man, we're good. Like, don't worry about this now.
When you have a cape, you can do that.
And I remember, like, talking to them in the locker room afterwards and coming away, and I wrote after that game, guys, you don't have anything to worry about. Cavs are going to beat this team in the playoffs. And people thought, like, I was just being a shill and a mouthpiece. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you, Atlanta can't hang with them. And right now, Atlanta is Boston, and Cleveland now is Atlanta then, where you're coming, but you aren't there yet.
Yeah.
And
Boston has the cape.
Boston has the cape right now. So the Cavs still are like trying to figure out who are we, what are we good at when it's game on the line, when it's a team like Boston, when it's a team like OKC, what do we have?
Yeah.
And they're still trying to figure that out, and I expect Kenny to play that way. Like, use your best ATO tonight. If you need a bucket, use it.
Get it.
See what it looks like.
Yeah.
And if you put it on film, you know what? You're trusting that our guys are better than your guys, and even if you know it's coming, we can run it again when it counts, and we're going to beat you with it again. Or you can do what Ty also did, and you come up with the counter to the counter. Like, Ty was so good in playoff series, and this is the big question, really, about Kenny that we don't have the answer to yet. This is the first time for Kenny, too. We keep talking about the players, and the players were growing, and like last year was their step. This is a big step for Kenny that no one's really talking about.
When checkers becomes chess, what happens?
He was not in this position with Brooklyn. And what separated Ty and what made Ty...
Didn't he make the playoffs one year, though?
They were like a 6 or 7 seed.
But he does have... I mean, it's not like he's never been there.
Right, but it's not like this.
Yeah.
And what separated Ty was his ability to... When the Cavs played the Pistons that first year, when he took over midway through the year, and they had a baseline inbounds play, and throughout the series, Stan Van Gundy, I can't remember the details, it doesn't matter. Stan did something to take away what he liked to do on the baseline. So Ty sat there with Larry Drew in his office like 20 minutes before the game, and on a napkin he scribbled out a new inbounds play, the counter to the counter.
Right.
And they ran it to perfection. It was like a inbounds to Delhi, skip pass across the court, Kyrie 3. I may have that wrong. The game was in Detroit. I go back and find it.
Yeah, Kyrie hit that 3-point. It was
because
the corner.
Ty drew it up for me on the whiteboard for a little piece that I did later on. It was fascinating just to see how a coach's mind works. Kenny has to be able to do that. Kenny has to be able to and take what you see tonight. Take what Boston shows you tonight. And now when you get into a playoff series, okay, this is what they did. This is what Joe did to take this away. I have to now come up with a counter to that. So this is a test for Kenny as well.
I mentioned this and people was confused what I was saying, but I kind of like Kenny Atkinson, like the way some teams and some coaches you'll be up 20, right? And somebody will hit a 3. Somebody will come down, hit a layup, you down 15. They'll say, you guys figure it out. Kenny don't play that. Kenny be up 30 points. Somebody hit a 3, he calling their timeout. And I'm like, you know what? I like that. You know what? We're not going to have none of this comeback mentality. Some people like, I'm going to let my guys figure it out. I like the fact that he controls the pace and he comes out and he does some really nice stuff to get a bucket right back to kind of push the lead back to where it's supposed to go. So I like some of his in-game stuff, but you are correct. There are going to be points and times today where we're going to have a bucket. He's going to have to call something up. He may have to switch some matchups. He may have to put somebody else in. And one key that is and you notice watching all these playoff basketball games, is sometimes it's just random. Yeah. Sometimes it's going to be a random Sam Merrill, and you don't know why or what reason, and you put him in, and he knocks down shots.
Hey, sometimes you can draw up the perfect play, get a wide open look, and the dude misses it. Did the coach do his job? Yeah, he did his job. He got you a good look.
He just didn't make it.
Just didn't make the shot.
Yeah.
One other thing with Atkinson and how tonight means more than the first 3 matchups. When they start to break down the film, and if these two teams meet in the Eastern Conference Finals, those first 3 matchups are fine and dandy. The film they're going to study is tonight.
Sure.
Because DeAndre Hunter wasn't part of the equation.
Yep. Yeah.
And what the Cavs do with DeAndre Hunter tonight is what Boston's going to study in terms of preparing for Cleveland. And Cleveland's going to study tonight's tape because they have Hunter.
Exactly.
Atkinson has talked at length, and Jason, you kind of alluded to this a second ago, that he's not afraid to put stuff out on tape. And I'm curious tonight if both teams, but Cleveland in particular with Hunter, is going to try a certain coverage on a pick and roll or not switch something with 2 particular players, whether it be Hunter and Allen, just using them as an example.
Yeah.
When it's a screen on Hunter and Allen, when, let's say, Tatum's on, Hunter's guarding Tatum and Allen's on Porzingis, they want to get that switch or whatever, and they don't switch that. I'm curious if Kenny's going to put out anything there on tape that he already knows in his back pocket come playoff time. We're not going to do it like that. But we want Boston to see it. We want Boston to think this is how we're confident. They're confident they're going to guard this sort of action. Just as a little show it now and pull it back.
Gamesmanship, but
I was going to say there's a ton of gamesmanship going on tonight between Kenny and Joe, because it wouldn't surprise me if Joe Mazzulla is also doing something similar
he will.
in that regard, which is why I hope, and you never know, the regular season in the NBA right now, you see games like Detroit-Boston 2 nights ago where
head scratchers.
Boston just doesn't show up and decides 20 minutes in, we're going to wave the white flag. I hope tonight is the kind of game we got when OKC came here in January. And it's the kind of game we got when the Cavs played Detroit and DG buzzer.
That felt like a playoff game.
Those were the types of games that you can look back on when the playoffs roll around and say, all right, how did Cleveland perform in this situation, in this atmosphere? And both teams were playing at a high level for 48 minutes.
I don't like good games. I want them to blow them out. I don't want no.
But playoff games.
Well, yeah, we all want them to blow them out.
I want no good games.
And I think there's teaching moments in those close games, even when you lose. You know, you don't want to lose, but I think that the teams, your mettle has to be tested. It just has to be tested. And I like the fact that these games against Boston and OKC have felt like a playoff atmosphere, because when you've got a young team, younger, like the Cavs, those situations are hard to manufacture any other time of the year. You're not getting against Orlando. And I think also you mentioned about Detroit and Boston. It was telling to me how quick Boston just threw in the towel.
Wave the white flag.
That, to me, tells me how important they view tonight's game. We're not going to expend all this useless energy to win a meaningless game against Detroit and then have it cost us energy late in the game on Friday. So he just said, okay, take the L. It's more important that we beat the Cavs.
You know what? If they listen, this is an opportunity. I don't know if you guys took it the same way that I took it when I saw it, but I was a little taken aback when I heard something Tatum said. Now they getting ready to play the Cavs. They lost to you lose to the Pistons. Jaylen Brown was upset last year. He wasn't on the Olympic team. Then you take a look at Tatum. He was upset that he didn't even get the chance to play that much. He comes back and Tatum says, "Hey, I feel like I'm the face of the league." And people was like, No, Tatum, you're not the face of the league. You have a nice, pretty face. You have nice, wavy hair, but you're not the face of the league. And to me, it just seems like the Celtics, even though they won a championship, they got this thing where, like, they've yet to be validated. Like, they feel like we're here. You gave LeBron and Curry all that love. When Joker was moving and he was winning the MVP, why is it that you're reluctant to give us our medals?
You don't think that they're getting their flowers? I mean, they're the champs.
I don't.
I'm with G.
I don't think they get flowers like that. No.
Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were the two best players on a championship team. Jaylen Brown did not make Team USA. Jason Tatum got benched on Team USA.
Yeah, that's
the
a
face of
separate
the
issue
league
to
conversation
me.
right now
is not.
I'm not talking about.
Steph.
I'm not talking about individuals because I think you're right. They both feel like they're slighted, and you know what? If I'm a fan of Boston, I want them to continue feel that way because some guys just play better when that chip is bigger. But I think as a team, I keep hearing these conversations on the national level. Until someone beats the Celtics, they're the champs. So I think they are getting a measure of cachet.
But that's after 35 minutes of saying how good OKC and Cleveland is. Like they'll talk about the Celtics. They understand the Celtics are the best.
True.
So for them, if you're thinking about it, back in the day, like Jason said, the Cavs can go on long stretches where they don't even look good. But the narrative was, it's the Cavs, it's Steph. Don't worry about it. They will be in the finals. The rest of y'all is playing for second place.
Right.
But it don't seem the same way with the Celtics. It seems like, Cleveland is stepping up.
They're everyone's betting favorite.
Creeping.
Am I wrong? Boston is still everyone's betting favorite.
They are the betting favorite.
They are to me when you're 6 games behind. What's the spread now? 6.5.
Between first and second place?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6.5 right now.
The Cavs have a 6.5 game edge on the one over the Celtics, and the Celtics are still the betting favorite, a deciding betting favorite.
Donovan Mitchell, y'all can do some damage to the psyche. I think they, as a championship team goes, I think they're a little fragile. I think they're a little fragile.
I agree with that. A win tonight
bit.
for the Cavs will go a long way in everybody's mind.
Yeah, I like it.
Kenny's right. You got to beat them there at full strength. You've got to ding them on their floor when they've got everybody.
It's nothing like hearing the Boston Garden quiet.